The House of Representatives has announced or advised the Nigerian Railway Corporation to consider employing more female engineers to foster workplace inclusiveness. Now, the chairman of the House Committee on Land Transport, Honorable Blessing Onyechi, made this recommendation during the committee's oversight tour of railway facilities along the Lagos corridor. Now, Ono, daughter of the 7th Assembly Senate President, Senator David Mack, who represents the Otukpo Federal Constituency, said the employment of women engineers would give the nation's oldest public corporation the needed public image as a truly inclusive workplace. Now, Ono was accompanied by committee members, including Honorable Afolabi Afuakbe, that's the Abeokuta South Federal Constituency, and Honorable Oluwatoyin Fainka, former Lagos Special Advisor to the Governor on Transportation, amongst others. And yes, looking at this particular story now, back to the heading of this story. Okay, you'd find out that it's actually talking about, like I said, the National Assembly, and the fact that the reps have told NRC to employ more female engineers. Can we have more female engineers? You know, we actually have a lot of female engineers in Nigeria, especially now, compared to the past.
Yeah, I agree. It's a good thing. We need gender equality, and I advocate for that because women play a very vital role in societal development. You cannot take away the girl child or a woman in a society. In fact, a society without women, imagine, it's going to be boring. It's going to be terrible. You can't live in such a society. The society is meaningful, is lively, is fruitful when you have a woman. Not just a woman occupying space, a woman empowered to be useful in that society. A woman given the opportunity to function, to survive, to thrive, to not just to be seen, to be heard. Now, while they are clamoring for workplace inclusivity or workplace inclusiveness, I will also say they should also look at workplace organization, development, inclusiveness. The workplace should be made an environment where workers' welfare should also be treated as an important priority. We are not just going to talk about workplace inclusivity or inclusiveness. Let's have more women. Let's have a gender balance, more women and men. Beautiful. That's so lovely. It makes the work environment spectacular when you have more female engineers given opportunity to work. But we should also make the railway is talking about. We should make the environment conducive, not hostile, not toxic, friendly. We should make the environment organized. There should be organization, right, in the workplace environment. And also, we should also look at the welfare of the workers. You know, hunger does not ask for your gender certificates before it comes to you. Hunger does not ask for your whether you're a man or a woman. Every single human being, so far as you are alive, once you wake up in the morning, your stomach will ring a bell that you're hungry. You need to feed. So, workplace inclusiveness is important. It is also as important as workplace development, organization, and welfare. So let us balance it. So we have what economists call equilibrium. Let's put it in an equilibrium state where there's no disequilibrium, where you have a functioning state, where the workers' welfare is treated as important, organization is treated as important, the organizational culture is also seen as important, and also how to make the environment where ideas can be shared and people can, grow a healthy environment.
Talking about gender now, do you think that from reports, it looks like there's still traces of this gender thing, especially when careers are concerned, especially unique careers or careers that usually have more men, like the surveyors. We have more men in that. I think I know someone who was like the only female in the whole department, on that particular course during her time. And then we also have like the engineering space where he had to say, okay, can you employ, the reps had to tell the NRC, can you employ more females now? So do you think we can ever get to that point where it will just be, you know, the way a lot of people have been clamoring for it to be, the gender equality thing with careers?
Well, I would say
in
that we can make progress in the aspect of gender balance and gender equality, giving opportunities for women. I am an advocate, a strong advocate for the girl side and for women, and also for the boy side, because I cannot forget or ignore the boy side. But if you look at the biology of the man and the woman, the men are, you know, the physical structure. There are some tasking and very demanding jobs that most women might not like to do, or might not, their structure might not really be that, with all respect to women and with all, for example, there's some construction jobs that you hardly see some women do because it's physically demanding. And if you even bring it to the house, and you know, there are some certain tasks, they will say, ah, he's a man, let him do it. It's not a gender bias. It's because the biology of the man, the more physical structure. There are women that are very strong.
Yeah,
there are even some women that are stronger than some men. And we have seen cases of domestic violence where some women beat their husbands. That's very terrible. That's bad. But when you look at the biology of a man and a woman, so the man's structure, you know, physically is much, you know, stronger than that of the women. So in terms of career, the career space should be open. If a woman says she wants to be a pilot, she should be given the opportunity to fly. She can do it.
We're even talking about times when, you know, if these women are trained in that job, it means that these are experts. These are qualified experts. So we're also talking about cases or times when they would not be employed, probably because of their gender.
Now, I am totally against that. Beyond the biology aspects, where you have to look at the differences between a man and a woman, because we cannot deny the fact that there are differences between a man and a woman. It is not despising any of them, but it is understanding biology and understanding the fact. But in cases where people are discriminated against because they are women and given some opportunities that they are qualified for, that's totally wrong. When someone is qualified for a job, he shouldn't be discriminated based on his gender or his race or his tribe or his ethnicity or whatever you want to tie to the person. The most important thing is the person qualified for the job? Is the person, can the person do the job? Not based on because he's a man or a woman and then he can't do it. If it is something that involves a lot of physical activity that the person can't do, like maybe carrying heavy equipments or heavy materials, and you know that you give a woman to do that and then it affects her or something, you know, that's different. So there should be no discrimination.
That should actually be looked into. This conversation, even though not entirely related, but it brought my attention to, or brought my mind back to when I saw, there was a particular time I had to do a research when I was anchoring a women's show. I had to do a research on the ladies who were complaining about houses not being given to them for rentage because they're ladies. So you'd hear, you must bring a man. I cannot have a conversation with a woman. So go and bring a man first. Secondly, you hear things like, oh, you might bring men home. Thirdly, you hear excuses like, how would you pay? You're a woman. What do you even earn? Do you understand? So because you're a woman, you're already seen as someone who doesn't earn much, you know, and someone who might not be able to pay for her own rent. And all of these bias that comes with this gender, especially when it has to do with renting a house. And I'm bringing this up because you made mention of being an advocate for, and I know you do a lot of speaking and, you know, things like this. So that's why I'm actually bringing it. Have you ever experienced or had a lady during your talks? Have you ever had a lady who has complained about this particular case?
Now, I've had cases of people that have complained, women that have complained of discrimination in different aspects beyond housing and many other aspects, even in a platform where we do cases of domestic violence, because I've done a lot of advocacy for domestic violence. The reality is that if a man is, or someone is discriminating against a woman in terms of housing, trying to look her down or trying to despise her, based on her financial capacity, that person is myopic. Because if
based on his thoughts of her financial capacity,
the person is myopic. The fact is that a lot more needs to be done. Because
what should be done?
First, you need to ask yourself what gives rise to these actions. The cultural system in so many areas. There are some cultures where women are not really seen as important.
True.
So they're not given value for who they are and what they can do and what they can contribute. So the cultural system, some cultures, I'm just looking at the cultural system, some cultures have influenced these actions of people trying to see, for example, a woman, if her husband dies, they try to take all the properties from her and they want to throw her out of the house. These are wrong practices that are dragging us backward. I'm not saying that the women should be, they shouldn't respect the system or the structure of orderliness. But I'm trying to say that we should, as a society, grow out of the shell of wrong cultural practices that limit the potentials of women and men, the both sides. Because I don't like to be caught within the divide of pro this, anti this. I like to see it from a humanistic point of view and perspective, right? So while we are clamoring for women to be given fairness, we should also look at the men. They should be given fairness to. So in other words, in the society, development should be given to people, not segmentation or discrimination or stigmatization or classifying people into boxes of M and F, male or female. Thank God our society is not wrapped with this craziness in the Western societies where they even have gender neutral. Somebody will just come up and tell you he has no gender. You have to stick to something. You have to stand on something. It's either you stand for something or you fall for everything. It's either you're a man or a woman. So you must fall within, you must be somewhere. You must be in a box. You cannot wake up one morning and say that today you want to be identified as a stick. You are not a stick because you didn't come out from a stick. So in our society, at least,
no matter what you tell yourself,
yes, even though you pretend to be a stick, even if you dance or think you are a stick, walk like a stick, sing like a stick, you are still that person you are. You are just living in self-denial. So people should be treated with respect irrespective of their gender.
Yeah.